and good evening, everyone, and welcome in to the UFC Fight Cards Podcast, presented by Orange Fire Media. I'm Los Renault. Thank you for joining us here on episode number 20. So we've hit a milestone here on the show, and we can't wait to talk about the UFC fights from last night. Can't wait to open that Prizm that you saw from the beginning of the show. And thanks for everybody for joining us. If you're joining us for the first time, you can reach me at Russ at orange-fire.com. That's my email address. You can find me on social media at FightCardsRuss or Orange Fire Media. Any of that works. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you find us. And you can also see the chat box that if you're listening for the first time, let me know your name, where you're listening from, and who you collect. And I'll keep that in mind as we go along, as we get into opening some more boxes of Prizm. We are halfway through. We got through our 6th box last week, and now we are into another box, we're halfway through the case, and we're opening box number 7 tonight here on the show. So we'll recap what we hit the last couple of weeks. We'll show you the big hits from last week, and then we'll get into talking about the fights and everything else that goes along with this show. We are your family-friendly UFC podcast because with being the hobby, youngsters get involved in the hobby just like, we did as kids, and have a place to come and ask questions, what the best way to go about collecting is, and just a good space to come in. Don't have to hear some of the rougher language that goes along with UFC podcasts. So we just kind of keep it clean, family-friendly for the kids that are getting into the hobby, and just kind of make it a little bit different here on this show. So let's get right down to it. Let's go ahead and let's talk about UFC 289 from last night. What we do is we talk about the most recent fight. We'll talk about the major fights that are coming up on the UFC schedule, and then we'll get into the card segment of our show. So the one thing I do want to say from the top of the show is I do apologize. Not my fault, though. Panini is a day late on that release of the 2023 Donruss, so we are not going to have that in on time. So I'm going to get that on Tuesday, so we will definitely have it for next week unless something goes wrong between here and there. So we're just going to be opening one box of Prizm tonight, and then next week we'll open a box of Donruss and a box of Prizm. So we'll have 4 boxes of Prizm left over for some time later, and we'll open the 10 boxes of Donruss that we have. So I do apologize for not coming through, but really not a whole lot I could do about it. So bear with me, and we're going to open it all at some point anyway, so what does it really matter? But no, I wish I could have come through. That would have been a lot of fun. But we'll just save all that fun for next week, and we'll open a box of each, and we'll keep this one kind of short tonight, I guess, with just the one box. We don't even have a retail box this week, just the one hobby. Because I just put the other one up there for looks, so we're just going to do the one tonight, and we'll talk about UFC 289 right now. So if you watched the fights last night, which I watched the main card, we'd start off with the Women's Bantamweight Championship title defense for Amanda Nunes, and she's taking on 5th-ranked Irene Aldana. And leading up to the fight, a lot of people thought this was going to be a test for Nunes, somebody a little bit longer, stronger, could have some knockout power, and kind of be a test for Nunes. Somebody unlike Juliana Pena would stand there and take shots, but she couldn't deliver the way that Aldana should have been able to, from what we've seen before. But this fight was just weird, man. It was just weird. Aldana didn't do much of anything, and got in the one good shot in the first round, didn't follow up on it, never threw it again, and so it was just a dominant performance by Nunes, which it wasn't all that impressive. I mean, to be honest, it was just a terrible game plan by Aldana. It's your title shot. You go out there and you be aggressive, and you make something happen. You've seen your teammates do it, your fellow country people go out and do it this year, and that's all we heard leading up to the fight. And that's not what we saw last night. So, it's pretty lackluster main event. And, I guess the big takeaway that comes after that is that Amanda Nunes retires as the double champ in the women's bantamweight and the women's featherweight division. So she called it quits last night after the fight, and so we got to see, that show, and for her to retire in Vancouver after defending the belt. Said she didn't want to leave it to Juliana Pena, so she didn't, and now she goes out as a champion. That's the way you should go out. So I commend Amanda Nunes for that not hanging on, and she's kind of done everything that she can possibly do. It looks like there's not a big crop of contenders for her, because there just would have been that trilogy with Pena, which I'm sure that Juliana Pena is really frustrated with that. So you're going to look at a potential future champion at 135 who's been beaten by Amanda Nunes. And so, there's something to be said for that title being vacant, that it's going to be filled by somebody who couldn't beat the champion. Well, Pena did beat the champion, so we'll see what happens with that. And a couple of interesting things of note. One thing I saw today is that Aaron Blanchfield may move up to 135 and take a shot at that title. So you think that the top contenders now, with Aldana kind of out of the picture, and others with fights coming up, see how Juliana Pena heals with that broken rib. So you're thinking Pena and Holly Holm and Raquel Pennington. So then you can throw Blanchfield in there if you want to. We'll see how that all shakes out over the next few weeks, months. So we look at the co-main event, which was the main event for a lot of people, and it was number 1 Charles Oliveira, the former lightweight champion, taking on number 4 Beneil Dariush. And this one, I was reading a story about this earlier, and somebody with a lot more MMA journalism experience than I have. I mean, I do have a journalism degree, and I have written sports for a long time, and I thought this was kind of careless. They said that Oliveira dominated from the opening bell and got the finish on Dariush, but Dariush was winning the round until he wasn't. I mean, it started off that Dariush controlled the first two and a half minutes of the fight, and then he got caught. Oliveira caught him, and with just under a minute left in the first round, was able to finish him with punches. So I just thought that was a weird thing for a respected UFC publication or an MMA publication to say that Oliveira was dominant. I don't think that was the case at all. I think Dariush had a pretty good game plan and wasn't afraid of the guard of Charles Oliveira, and held his own in there, and I thought did a good job with that. But then when they got back onto the feet, where Dariush was supposed to have the advantage, Oliveira caught him and was able to get a nice win. I mean, it wasn't dominant from bell to bell, but it was dominant for that last minute of the fight. So a really impressive win for Charles Oliveira, and we'll see a nice card that we pulled last week from Charlie Olives, and that was kind of the best one out of our case so far. And we'll get a good look at that one coming up. I think that one's spoken for though, so that one went out the door today. So happy to get that in somebody's hands. That's what we're here to do, and I'll say that when we get to that part of the show. It would going on with the main card from last night. Welterweight matchup between Mike Malott and Adam Fugit, and Mike Malott getting the submission in the second round. A really impressive victory for him. Just looks like he's going to be really hard to stop in that welterweight division, and really he made it 6-0 for the Canadians last night, and that's what he wanted to do. Wanted to show off in front of the home crowd, and it got it done. The Canadians going 6-0, so it's pretty impressive. It was kind of like the first UFC event I went to was UFC 222 in Boston. They had 5 Boston guys on that card, and they went 5-0, and so it's kind of interesting how they stack those up. I remember Rob Font, and I know he is, but Calvin Kattar was on that card. They all won, and so it's nice to see the hometown guys getting it done. Also on that card, Dan Ige taking care of business against Nate Landwehr, holding him out of the top 15 in the lightweight division, getting a unanimous decision. And also one of the other Canadians, Marc-Andre Barriault, getting a unanimous decision over Eric Anders in the middleweight division. think one of the disappointing things from last night was the middleweight matchup. Is the top 15 matchup between Nasruddin and Mavov, who's a rookie in the Panini products, the card products that were opening, and also Chris Curtis is too. So number 12 against number 14, that ends in a no contest with Mavov catching Curtis with a headbutt. Just inadvertent, is heat of the battle. But that pretty disappointing with that matchup being so anticipated between those two and really standing out on the prelims. I think the other thing of note that happened last night, Jasmine Jasudavicius women's flyweight matchup defeating number 15 Miranda Maverick. So Jasudavicius should be ranked next week, and that was a pretty impressive performance. I was kind of caught it out of the corner of my eye. I was just trying to get back before the main card started, and I was out somewhere and watching that one, and I could tell that Jasudavicius was winning the fight just from with the sound off and being from a little bit of a distance and what I could watch. So ended up on the scorecards closer than I thought it was, but anyway, Jasudavicius is going to be ranked next week. So we'll see what happens when those rankings come out. But that's really the highlights from last night. I just take away that Nunes goes out the champion, and we'll see what happens with the women's bantamweight division going forward. So as we run through the schedule for the next few months, we'll look at next week. We got a fight night coming up from the Apex in Las Vegas. It's going to be a middleweight matchup between number 4 Jared Cannonier, number 3 Marvin Vettori. Both have challenged for the title before. That's really the highlight of that one. Fight night on June 24th in Jacksonville, Florida. Big one between number 5 Josh Emmett, number 9 Ilya Topuria in the featherweight division. Also a women's strawweight matchup between Macy Barber and Amanda Hebus. It's pretty interesting. Fight night on July 1st in Las Vegas, again at the Apex. Sean Strickland against Abos Magomedov. That card really hasn't filled out a whole lot yet because it's right before International Fight Week. It's kind of in a weird spot, but not a whole lot on that card yet. Everything else kind of filled out a little bit more than that one, which is kind of interesting. UFC 290, like we said, International Fight Week, July 8th from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Featherweight championship on the line. Unification bout between Alex Volkanovski and the interim champion Yair Rodriguez. We've got the flyweight championship on the line between Brandon Moreno and the number 2 ranked Alexander Pantoja, who has beaten Moreno before. Middleweight matchup, number 2 Robert Whitaker against number 6 Dracus du Plessis. Lightweight matchup, number 10 Jalen Turner, number 11 Dan Hooker. And rounding out the main card, a middleweight matchup between Bo Nickel and Trayshawn Gore. So Bo Nickel, kind of the hottest rookie in the card products this year. And we'll get to our hobby top 5 later on in the show. We unveil that every week, and I'm sure that Bo Nickel will factor into that somewhere. Also interesting to me, welterweight matchup, Sean Brady against Jack Della Maddalena, number 9 against number 14. That one's a really good matchup. And then, it's something kind of overlooked, a light heavyweight matchup between number 14 Jimmy Crute and Alonzo Minifield. They went to a draw a couple of months ago, and they're going to run that one back. So I think that one's kind of interesting on that card. It looked like a good matchup. Everybody's kind of enjoying that fight, but ended up as a draw. So then you get to fight night, July 15th in Las Vegas at the Apex, and this is where that women's bantamweight vacant title is going to start factoring in. Number 3 Holly Holm against number 10 Myra Bueno Silva. So Holly Holm could put herself in a spot to challenge for an interim or for that vacant bantamweight title. So with an impressive showing, see what happens with her. You see Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington, like I said. Then we get to fight night, July 22nd in London. Number 5 Tana Aspinall against number 10 Marcin Tybura, heavyweight matchup. We've also got Molly McCann on that card. Ketlin Vieira, Pani Kianzad, women's bantamweight matchup. Ketlin Vieira is number 4. So as you can see, these things are going to start to come together over the next couple of months. So that's number 4 against number 7. And then we look a little bit further. UFC 291, July 28th in Salt Lake City. we've got the BMF title on the line in the lightweight division. Number 2, Dustin Poirier against number 3, Justin Gaethje. And the co-main event, number 3, Jan Blachowicz against Alex Pereira, the former middleweight champion, making his light heavyweight debut. So that's pretty exciting. Tony Ferguson against Bobby Green, lightweight matchup. Paulo Costa, Ikram Aliskerov, middleweight matchup. And then Stephen Thompson against Michel Pereira, welterweight matchup. Derek Lewis back in action. Also, Michael Chiesa against Kevin Holland. Then we look at Fight Night, August 12th at the Apex in Las Vegas. Welterweight matchup between number 9, Rafael dos Anjos, and number 10, Vicente Luque. Then further down the line, UFC 292, August 19th in Boston. We do have, this is the one fight that was added this week. We'll kind of keep our eye on some more, hopefully this week. But we know the main event. We know the co-main, champion Aljamain Sterling against number 2, Sean O'Malley for the bantamweight title. Women's strawweight, the champion Zhang Wei Li taking on number 4, Amanda Lemos. And the one fight that was added to that card this week, Chris Weidman making his return to the middleweight division against Brad Tavares. He'll be on that card. And also we know that Fight Night on September 2nd is going to be in Paris. So expect to see maybe Cyril Gane return to action there, perhaps. And then UFC 293, we know that's September 9th in Sydney. Don't know anything else about it. It really hasn't been announced that it's in Sydney, but it's kind of a poorly kept secret. Then UFC 294, October 22nd in Abu Dhabi. Probably looking at an Islam Makhachev title defense, possibly against Charles Oliveira, possibly against the winner of Poirier and Gaethje. So maybe a little quick turnaround on that Poirier-Gaethje matchup. So it may just be Charlie Olives by default. So that'll be fun to watch. I think we'll all want to see that it run back again, see if Oliveira can fare better the second time around. So that's about it that we have for the fight schedule, all the fight cards that are filled out and coming up. And so we transition into our card segment here on the show. And so every week we unveil the Hobby Top 5. And that is the top 5 hottest fighters at the moment, the fighters that people are buying in breaks, people that are shelling out a lot of money for these fighters' cards, and the best rookies. Some of them aren't, but our top 5 is kind of filled with a few rookies, and nothing's really changed this week, so we've still got the same top 5. If you've been with us before, you won't be too surprised. But just really nothing, no results last night have changed anything. Nothing this week would change that top 5 at all. So let's just go through it now. Well, I think that slide is not going to work today. That's too bad. So we'll just talk about that. We'll have that ready for next time. Maybe it'll change a little bit. But anyway, we'll go through the Hobby Top 5. So number 5 is Alex Pereira. He is the former middleweight champion, making his light heavyweight debut soon. But really interesting for a rookie to win a championship and lose it before the cards even come out. So Pereira probably would have been higher up on this list had he not lost to Izzy. Number 4, Erin Blanchfield. And the only female that's ever been on our Hobby Top 5, one of the hottest rookies in this product. Number 3 is not a rookie, but it's Khamzat Chimaev. Number 2, also not a rookie, but his rookie cards are probably the most sought after, Shavkat Rakhmonov from last year's product. And number 1, we mentioned him earlier and kind of gave that away. Number 1 in this product this year is Bo Nickel. So he's number 1 on our list, and he remains in that top spot for at least another week, and we'll see what happens when the Donruss product comes out and see if that changes anything. I doubt it, but you never know. That's why we do it every week. So I do want to mention a few other things before we open one of these boxes of Prizm. So if you subscribe to the show, at some point we're going to start giving away cards. And that's just my thank you to everybody who's been with us from the beginning, everybody who's joining up early. I just want to say thank you for stopping by. And we're going to give away cards at some point. We got to get some more subscribers, so it's a little more spread out, a little more interesting. So we've got 7 fighter lots, so 7 people are going to win a lot. And this is 7 different fighters, and each lot is at least 10 cards. 2 of them, the John Jones and Holly Holm, are more like 20. But every lot contains a numbered card. So John Jones is one of the lots. We got Jan Blachowicz, Justin Gaethje, Robert Whittaker, Glover Teixeira, and then on the women's side we've got Holly Holm and Misha Tate. And the Misha Tate's lot contains 2 numbered cards. So we're going to give those away at some point. I used to bring them out, but I mean, it's a lot of cards at this point. So we're going to give those away. So if you know anybody that would be interested in this show, just have them stop by and subscribe and just check it out. That's all I ask. Just give us a chance and check out the show and see how it is. We're going to be making improvements as we go along. This 20th episode, and we're just going to try to keep making things better. We're going to be changing over to a different software, hopefully sometime soon, that we'll be able to have the ability to get guests on pretty easily, and we'll have some people on. So looking forward to that and making the show better and all these changes. Can't get here fast enough, and I just want to say thank you for everybody who's been here from day one, or just for the first time today. So thanks a lot for that. And just if you do want to be a fan or a friend of the show and you want to help out, I do have some cards that have a QR code. You can keep these on you. If you go somewhere and watch fights, if you go to Buffalo Wild Wings or if you go to Twin Peaks, somewhere like that to watch fights, that you can keep this on you, and people can just scan this with their phone, and it'll go straight to the show, and they can subscribe. And that'll get those numbers up, and just really build this show and grow. And so if you want to help, if you want a card, I can send this your way, and you can tell me your favorite fighter. I'll probably throw a card in there with it. So just let me know. Would really appreciate it if you get out there and let people know that we're here. Just trying to grow it the best way we can. Organically, isn't always the fastest, but we're just going to be consistent. We've been here at 9 o'clock Central every Sunday. We haven't missed one yet, so been really proud of the fact that we've been here and doing what we say we're going to do. So with that, we are going to open. We're going to look back at our hits from the first 6 boxes. We don't have all of them because we have sold some of them, and everything on the show is available. So if you see something that you like, you just reach out to me, either at my email address, russ@orange-fire.com, or on social media at FightCardsRuss or at Orange Fire Media. You can find me on Facebook, Russ Renault, or Orange Fire Media. All that works. So if you see anything that you like, just let me know. And because we've been moving a lot of stuff lately. Been pretty aggressive getting it out there. I wanted to get the 22 stuff out the door. I've still got a little bit left, but not a whole lot. The 23 stuff has been doing really, really well. And the reason why I talk about that is just that everything that sells goes right back into the show. So it's paying for more cards. It's paying for, like I said, we're changing over software soon. And so it just goes to pay for all that, getting this show off the ground. That is what these card sales are mostly for this first year. We're just the reason why we're trying to turn a big profit is just to put it all back into the show here. We're just not trying to be the best card dealer in town. We're trying to be the best show in town. And that's the way we do it is by moving some of the bigger cards that we hit. So with that said, let's look at the autographed and numbered cards that we have. This is a bigger stack than I had last week. So let's just start with the best cards first. Like I said, we hit this Charles Oliveira Dominance Gold 10 of 10 bookend last week. That was our big one. And I think that's kind of the biggest one so far, for sure. And somebody's already claimed that, and I do appreciate that for sure. That was a big one. I'm glad we can get that into a fan's hand. So we have a couple of redemptions. This one's from last week. This was our other hit. So we got throwback signatures, redemption from Israel Adesanya. Let's see here. We got another redemption. We've already redeemed both of these, waiting for these to come back. We'll be waiting for a while, I'm sure. But we got a champion signatures, a BJ Penn. So 2 redemptions so far. Let's take a look at what else we've got. A lot of legend signatures, by the way. We've been hitting legends like crazy, and you'll see here. Matt Brown, legendary signature silver. Tank Abbott, legendary signature silver. Got a Matt Hughes, legendary signature. This one came out of last week's box. Mark Kerr, legendary signature. This is our case hit so far. It's our lowest numbered card. The Oliveira is a better card, but had this Damon Jackson Octagon Prizm. So it's a rookie card for Damon Jackson. Got a few Tabitha Ricci. So we got an orange, got a ruby red wave, got a whole bunch of base. 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 5 base Tabitha Ricci cards. Got a Sergey Pavlovich orange. Got the blue wave. Got Johnny Walker. Got a purple of 149. A couple of silver prisms. Yeah, Mike, I did sell the Charles Oliveira right before the show. Sorry about that. Let's go. Israel Adesanya. Purple out of 149. So like I said, you can use the chat box. Austin, Mike in there. Usually John's in there too. John and I had a really good conversation while I was opening that box last week, and I really appreciated it. Made the show better, I thought. We've got Tai Tuivasa purple, 149. Got a hyper to go along with it. I do sell those as lots. I do put those in there. Usually you buy the better card, and I just include the other one with it. So I got a Jorge Masvidal blue. Those are numbered to 175. Got the Chidi Njokuani blue. Also got the blue wave and a hyper. So got all of those Njokuanis. Cyril Gahn blue, 175. Vicente Luque blue. Got the Sean O'Malley red. Those are numbered to 199. Also got the silver, Sugar Show. Jamal Hill, light heavyweight champion, red. So got Song Yadong, got the red and the ruby red wave. And just a few more to go through. Yair Rosenstrike red. Yair Rosenstrike Cracked Ice, and Yair Rosenstrike Ruby Red Wave. Got Yan Xiaonan red. And Saeed Yakub Kakramanov red. And Volkan Ozdemir red. So I've also got kind of paired this up. You can find these. I'll also have a store on eBay. It's called Orange Fire. Lots of lots. You can go on eBay, and also got a pink ice to go along with this one from last year. Sorry, Mike, I don't have any other Charles for sale. I've sold all those recently. He's pretty popular. He could almost make it into that hobby top 5. And especially after a performance like last night. So we'll put those aside. Get a quick drink here. And we'll get into opening this box of Prizm. So here we go. We'll put one of these aside, save it for next week. And we'll also, if you're just joining us late, we'll be opening. We didn't get the Donruss box in this week. Kind of went out a day late from Panini, so that's going to push us back to getting it on Tuesday. So we'll have them for next week's show. We'll open a box of each. That'll leave us with 4 boxes of Prizm to open it sometime later. All right. Trying to beat the Damon Jackson Octagon Prizm and the Charles Oliveira Dominance Gold. So I pulled that back card to the front just because it's usually anticlimactic after you get to the autos and the numbered cards. They leave you with that last card and it just kind of gets thrown in. So sometimes you end up with 3 numbered cards in one pack though, or 3 colors. So we got a Carlos Esparza Fearless. I go through them all because we do put the audio on right after the show, so you can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts. So if you're listening in the car and you hear us opening cards and you hear something that you're interested in, that you can come back and look at the YouTube feed, go back and look and see that card for yourself and see if you're interested in it. So that's why we go through everything. We even go through the base just in case somebody's interested in something. So here we go. Cheyenne Vlismas, Aljamain Sterling, Jalen Turner, Sergey Pavlovich, Benil Dariush, Tony Gravely, Randy Brown, Paul Craig, Marlon Vera, and we've got Robert Whitaker, red. And just for those who know about the Fighter Lot giveaways, so we kind of start over with every year product. So we're not really adding any more to those lots. So that this red of $199 is not going to make it in there. Then we've got a rookie card here, ruby red, Ala Tengeli. I think we have a base of all the rookie cards this year. And we've got a couple of Hasbollas that we're holding on to for right now. We've got a few things we're holding on to. Just hadn't decided what I want to do with the Tabitha Ricci's yet. I could definitely be talked out of anything. Mike, I got you, man. So that back card, Tito Ortiz Dominance, Macy Chason, Tony Ferguson, Rafael Fiziev, back to back. Look at that. It's weird. Jonathan Pierce, Rosenama Nunes, Chidi Njokwani, Tyler Santos, Derek Lewis, and Azamat Mirzakhanov. So the silver, and we'll go back through everything, all the colors, all the autos, all the numbered cards. We'll go through all of those at the end of the show. So recap. So there we go. The other color in here is a Blue Wave Melsic Bagdasarian. Probably getting pretty close to a full set of all the inserts as well. So in these hobby boxes, if you're joining us for the first time, you're looking for 2 autographs per box. So there we got a Daniel Cormier Dominance, Manon Fiorot, Umar Nurmagomedov, Raquel Pennington, Javi Basharat, Stephen Thompson, Jamal Hill, Matt Hughes, Josiane Nunes, Holly Holm, and we got a numbered Yair Rodriguez. So the red 199. It's got a couple of champions in this pack. Do have a few Yair Rodriguez cards been holding on to waiting for a numbered card, so that'll go nicely with that. 124 of 199, and then the Hyper Leon Edwards. Fourth pack here. Bring that back card up. Israel Adesanya all out. Nikita Krylov, Marcin Tybura, Leon Edwards, Tatsuro Taira, Cyril Gahn, Merab Dvalishvili, Jared Cannonier, Song Yadong, Norma Dumont, and we got a GSP Silver, and Aljamain Sterling Ruby Red Wave. There we go. Sean O'Malley Fearless. No, we didn't have one of those. Derek Brunson, Martin Buday, Josh Emmett, Henry Cejudo, Anderson Silva, Marina Rodriguez, Lauren Murphy, Philip Rowe, Alice Gobkaz-Reeve. We got a Mojo right here. Making something good. Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell Mojo. And that decent next card. So we hit our first Mojo last week was a Brock Lesnar, and that one was sold pretty quick too. So Bryce Mitchell with the Mojo, 15 of 25 on that one. And here we go with a Bo Nickel Hyper with a nice friendly print line right below his neck. And And also a pretty bad top loader there. Let's change that one out. This is a bad deal all around on that one. It's the first time I've ever snapped a top loader. Here we go. Halfway through after this pack. So haven't pulled an auto yet. Pulled the one mojo. Pull that back card forward. Anderson Silva dominance. Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Dominic Cruz. Brian Ortega. Adrian Yanez. Zhang Wei Li. Sean O'Malley. Molly McCann. Andre Petrosky. Tisha Torres. Saeed Nurmagomedov silver. And Jalen Turner with a ruby red wave. So we got halfway through this hobby box without either one of our autos. It's kind of happened on the show. It's kind of been the way it's been. You know, wait till the second half. I think we're seeing a few more of the insert cards that we haven't seen before, though. Filling out some of those sets if anybody's interested in those. Make a pretty good deal on some base cards. I'd love to move them. So here we go. Back card first. Misha Tate, all out. I think that's another one we haven't seen yet. Israel Adesanya. Nasruddin Imavov, Anthony Smith, Yuri Prochazka, Uriah Faber, Saeed Nurmagomedov, Macy Barber, Kamaru Usman, Islam Makhachev, and got a silver Lucas Almeida. And last card in this one, Paul Craig Blue Wave. So 5 packs left. So 2 of them should be good. We hope. Don't get a dud hobby box. So Valentina Shevchenko Fearless. Another Aaron Blanchfield base rookie. Got a few of those. Pat Sabatini. Jacker Manson. Damon Jackson. Ro Rosas Jr. Another Hasbullah Magomedov, got about 4 of those. Uros Medic, Renat Fakhreddinov, Casey O'Neill. We get to our color. Got another Vulcan Ozdemir. So, what did we show earlier? We got a purple Vulcan and a pink ice from last year. So, purple from 23. Pink ice from 22. Maybe it was a red. Excuse me. It was a red on the Vulcan. You know, it was interesting. I was looking up the 2 events that I went to. It was UFC 220 in Boston and Fight Night here in Houston. after that. And Ozdemir was on both those cards. Just thought it was coincidence. Love for something to come back this way soon in Houston. It's been weird. Usually, there's event pretty regularly in Houston, but they had a pay-per-view last year, I believe, and haven't been back yet. So here we go, the last card in there, Justin Gaethje, Ruby Red Wave. So still no auto. 4 packs to go. So here we go. Hall monitors, Tito Ortiz, Amanda Nunes, Jan Blachowicz, Shavkat Rakhmonov, Brandon Moreno, Carol Hossa, Jack Della Maddalena, Daniel Cormier, Bo Nickel. Those two have been in the same pack every time. Just the way they're divided up. Amanda Ribas. I think we got an auto after this Uriah Faber silver. Another Matt Hughes. This one's numbered though. It's a red. So we've got 2 Matt Hughes autos. Man, at least they gave us a color. Any Matt Hughes fans can stock up on autos right here on the UFC Fight Cards podcast. So 3 packs to go. One of the autos out of the way. Sometimes I just hope that the other one's just the last pack. But probably going to get them back to back right here. Now that I said that, spoke it out loud. So here we go. Kamaru Usman, all out. Chris Barnett. Alex Perez. Chao Barallo. Yair Rodriguez, Corey Sandhagen, Marvin Vittori, Jorge Masvidal, Glover Teixeira, Chris Curtis, and Josh Emmett with the orange. It's numbered to 99. Now this box has not been that exciting, and even more so the fact that the Bo Nickel Hyper has a print line on it. Even more disheartening. So Marcin Tybura Hyper, it's got that same print line, same spot. And I would send them in, but you got to wait a long time. I had a Habib last year select tie-dye octagon side. It had a print line, and this is such a good card that I sent it in, and that was last July. So we're almost, maybe even June or July. So we're coming up on a year. Haven't heard anything from Panini on that. Pretty disappointing with a card that good. Here we go. One more pack after this one. Michael Morales. Oh, let's pull that back card out. Sorry. We've got our auto there. Conor McGregor, Fearless. Michael Morales. Kyler Phillips. Tai Tuivasa, David Dvorak, Calvin Kattar, Alexa Grasso, Volkan Ozdemir, Curtis Blades, Joe Pfeiffer. Got a Yan Xiaonan silver. We do have another auto here. And it is Brian Ortega stuck to another card. Oh, we got two autos in the same pack. They were stuck together. That's interesting. So we end up with three autos in this hobby box. Brian Ortega and Joe Selecki base autos. Joe Selecki's auto, it's awful. It's a rookie auto if I ever saw one. T-City, not bad at all. I saw the Joe Selecki first. I'm like, man, this box is... I mean, Ortega's not, at least he's fought for a belt recently. Waiting for him to come back, but getting three autos out of this box makes up for it a little bit. Not much, just considering that's not the greatest. Now, I'm not talking about fighter-wise. It's just a terrible signature. And I mean, I get it, though. You sign 100, 500 of those stickers. Probably just trying to get it over with. But Joe Selecki mailing that one in. So, kind of like to keep these together. We do build lots out of, the color that we pull. So we have a Yan Xiaonan red. We'll put that with it. Sell those together. Ends up being, you pay for the bigger of the two cards, and you end up getting the other stuff that I have for free. Basically, that's basically the way it works out. Do like to make good deals for people. So last pack, and I'm not anticipating any more autos out of this. So let's just look for a good low number, hopefully. So Dominic Cruz, Dominance, Mark Madsen, Sean Brady, Michelle Watterson, Max Holloway, Karine Silva, Francis Ngannou, Pedro Munoz, Alexander Volkov, Yan Xiaonan, and we get a nice little Brandon Moreno purple, 149. See if Emmanuel wants that one. Usually does. So Moreno will be fighting here on International Fight Week in about a month. Taking on Alexander Pantoja. And our last color card in this box. All of these. Just with that print line. Same spot on all the hypers. Daniel Cormier. So that box was my least favorite out of the 7 that we've opened. The only redeeming quality were getting the extra autograph in there. None of them amazing. Certainly not like last week's box. So let's go back through these. This underwhelming box, but you're going to get that. We've got a case, so you're gonna have one that just kind of underwhelms you, but we'll make it work. We still have fun. Robert Whitaker red, Alate Gailey, the Ruby Red Wave, Azamat Mirzakhanov silver, Melsik Bagdasarian blue wave, Yair Rodriguez red, 199, Leon Edwards with a hyper, George St. Pierre silver, Aljamain Sterling Ruby Red Wave. We've got our Mojo with Bryce Mitchell. Got some other color Bryce Mitchell. That's the first numbered one. Hopefully there's a good Bryce Mitchell fan out there. There's our Bo Nickel hyper print line. And I could have redeemed that box by itself had it not been for that print line. Said Nurmagomedov silver. Jalen Turner with the Ruby Red Wave. Lucas Almeida silver. Paul Craig blue wave. Vulcan Ozdemir blue, numbered to 175. Justin Gaethje Ruby Red Wave. Matt Hughes auto legendary signatures red. That is numbered 2 out of 99. Uriah Faber silver. Josh Emmett orange, numbered to 99. That's right. Yes. Number 54 out of 99. Marcin Tybura hyper print line, all of them. All the hypers in this one have it. Then we get to our other autos that were back-to-back. They were stuck together. Brian Ortega, just a base auto, but we'll take it. So we got 3 out of this box. Brian Ortega and Joe Selecki with a rookie auto. So Matt Hughes with a red, Brian Ortega, Joe Selecki base. Yan Xiaonan silver. Brandon Moreno purple of 149. That was numbered 26 of 149. And the last one in this box. And Daniel Cormier hyper. All those hyper prisms in this box had print lines on them. So there we go with the 3 auto box. And it's, like I said, it's probably the most underwhelming out of all of them. And that's the interesting part of it. Well, that is box number 7 of our case of 2023 Prizm. And I really hope that you enjoyed watching the show and talking about UFC 289. Looking forward to the other events coming up soon. Like I said, we got Fight Night coming up this next weekend with Jared Cannonier and Marvin Vettori, middleweight matchup. That should be a good one. Then, as we look forward, next pay-per-view on July 8th, International Fight Week, we'll be kind of building up to that. So really looking forward to that huge card coming up. But all the other stuff too, I like watching all of it. Just don't get to watch all of it all the time, like I wish I could, but just other things that we have going on. But we do follow everything pretty closely, do catch most of the main cards, especially on the pay-per-views, so that we know what we're talking about when we come here on the show and really watch those a lot more closely. But really appreciate everybody stopping by. Make sure you subscribe and get entered into those card giveaways, because we're going to be giving those away at some point. Just got to get those numbers up. And I say that not just because we want big numbers. It's just, we're just trying to grow the show and want people to come in here and just have a place to talk about fights and just open some cards so that you don't have to go buy into an expensive break. You can come in here and you see a card and you can buy the card. that you don't have to win the lottery to get it. You just come in here and you see it, be the first one to get in touch with me, and it's probably yours. We'll work something out. You can reach me at Russ at orange-fire.com, and you can reach me on Twitter at FightCardsRuss or at OrangeFireMedia. You can find me on Facebook, Russ Renault, Reneau, or Orange Fire Media. You can find me all those places, and we can work out a deal any of those places. And like I said, this isn't just a wheeling and dealing show. Everything that I sell this year will go back into making this show better, getting the software we need to get guests on. And as soon as I can get that, then we'll start rolling, start working on that, and just making this the best show it can be, which is what I try to do every week, and try to get a few more people on board every single week. And I hope you're out there help. If you enjoy the show, I hope you're helping. I'd really appreciate it, and I really look forward to the show every week and just hanging out with y'all. And next week should be great. I'm really sorry that we couldn't do it this week. Just waiting on that case of Donruss coming in. I really wanted to do that double rip. So we'll have to save it for next week, because it should be here on Tuesday. I was hoping to have it, yesterday or the day before, but Panini got those out a little bit late. And that's the other weird thing. I've been looking on Panini's website for the checklist, and that's not even up yet. But I know they've had a lot of issues. Had the break-in a couple weeks ago where they had a lot of their stuff destroyed, so some of those things may take a little bit longer to come back online. Things like checklist may be one of those things that kind of lost in that fray. Got some lawsuits going on with Fanatics. Maybe we'll talk about that, make that a topic on the show pretty soon. But yeah, because we do want to hit on some of the hobby news and talk about some of those events as it relates to what we're doing here on the show. So, and that's part of it. A break-in can set things back a little bit. And so we hope Panini's getting it together, doing well, and that they're kind of regrouping after that. And we wish them the best, because they supply everything that, they're not supplying directly to us. We're buying it, but they do make the products that we open here on the show, and we do appreciate that, because they do hold the rights to the UFC, and so that's what we got right now, and we enjoy it. So I enjoy it, and I enjoy having you here, and just let everybody know that where we are every Sunday night right here, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube, and then you can find us on all the audio podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever else you get your podcasts. Let everybody know, and let's grow this community together. And I really appreciate you stopping by here on another Sunday night and making us part of your week. I hope you have a great week, and I hope that you will join us next week, where we will have the double rip of Prizm and Donruss right here on the UFC Fight Cards Podcast. I'm Russ Renault. Good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.